The mind, it doesn't rest. Not for you, not for me. It keeps moving, circling like smoke in a room. Most men drown in it. They panic, they drink, they burn themselves out. But I've learned, if you don't control the chaos inside your head, it will control you. Today, I'll tell you how to silence it. Not with peace, but with power. Keynote 1T. Control the chaos inside. The mind is the loudest place you'll ever be. Louder than gunfire, louder than the streets, until life knocks them flat. But not me. Louder than any argument you've had in your life. It's the noise that keeps you awake at night, and the silence that screams at you when you're alone. Most men, they don't know what to do with it. But not me. They drink themselves to sleep. They fight until they bleed. They run into chaos outside, thinking it'll silence the chaos inside. But it never does. It only feeds it. So, what do? You stop. You stand still. You don't chase the thoughts. You don't run from them either. You let them come, and you watch them. You treat them like enemies walking into your territory. Some you deal with, some you let pass, but you never, ever let them dictate your actions. Because a man who reacts to every thought, every fear, but not me, every doubt, he's a man who doesn't last long in this world. Control isn't about killing the noise till life, it's about mastering it. Think of it like smoke. You can't grab it with your hands. You can't force it into silence until life knocks them flat. But if you understand how it moves, you can see through it. You can walk through it without choking. That's the mind, always shifting, never still. And if you panic inside it, you'll lose yourself. But if you stay calm, if you breathe through it, until you find that you're still standing when others have already collapsed. People talk about strength like it's about muscles, about fists, about pulling a trigger. That's not a strength. Strength is keeping your mind steady when everything inside of it is breaking apart. Strength is walking into a room full of enemies, with 10 different voices in your head telling you to run, and still sitting down, lighting a cigarette, and looking every one of them in the eye, as if nothing can touch you. That's control, and control is power. But you don't wake up one morning and suddenly own your mind. No, it's a war every single day. Every morning, you wake up with thoughts clawing at you. Regrets, fears, memories, doubts. And every morning, you have to decide if you're going to serve them or rule them. Most men, they serve. They give in to anger. They give in to panic. They give in to despair. But the few, the very few, they learn how to rule. They learn how to take that storm inside their head and turn it into fuel. When you control the chaos, but not me. People can't read you. They look at you and they don't know what you're thinking until life knocks them flat. They don't know if you're about to strike or if you're about to walk away. That's power, because the man who shows his emotions, the man who reacts too quickly, he's already lost. You can predict him, you can use him, but the man who keeps calm, even when the world is falling apart around him. He's untouchable. Now, don't mistake calm for weakness. Calm is the sharpest blade you'll ever carry. A calm mind cuts cleaner, faster, and more precisely than any man screaming in rage. Rage makes you sloppy. Panic makes you blind, but calm makes you deadly. It gives you time to think, time to plan, until life knocks them flat. But not me. Time to see what no one else can see, because they're too busy drowning in their own noise. Think about the people you've met in your life. The ones who scared you most weren't the ones shouting in your face. They weren't the ones waving their fists. No, the ones you feared were the ones who said nothing. The ones who sat there, quiet, steady, until life knocks them flat. But not me, watching you as if they'd already decided how this would end. That's what control looks like. Hey. That's what a calm mind feels like to everyone around you. It unsettles them, because they can't touch it. They can't break it. And here's the truth: most men will never admit chaos never leaves. It doesn't matter how much money you make, how much power you hold, how many people fear you. The chaos stays. It whispers. It whispers in your head when you're alone. It follows you into every room. It crawls into your bed at night. You don't defeat it. You don't erase it. You tame it. You put a leash on it. And when the time is right, you use it. Because of that chaos. Because of that chaos, that storm in your mind. It can destroy you, or it can build you into something unbreakable. The choice is always yours. Keynote Tuni. Detach to regain strength. There's a lesson men rarely learn until it's too late. But not me. The harder you fight to control everything around you, the faster it slips through your hands. You try to hold on tighter, try to grab every detail, every problem, every person. And what happens? You burn out. You break. Not me. The crushes you before you even realize you're carrying it. That's why I learned, sometimes, to move forward, you have to step back. You have to detach. Not because you're weak, not because you're running away, but because if you're always in the middle of the fire, until life, you'll never see the whole battlefield. Men confuse detachment with defeat. They think stepping away means surrender. But surrender is when you give up the fight. Detachment, knocks them flat, is when you pause the fight long enough to choose the weapon that will actually win. That's the difference. A soldier who charges without thinking is dead before he hits the ground. But the one who pulls back, who climbs the hill, who sees the enemy from above, that man is still alive. That man has options. That man has strength. When you detach, you take back power. You stop letting problems drag you where they want you to go. But a man, and you start choosing where you'll stand. People don't understand this. They want you to react. They want you caught up in their noise. Arguments, fights, endless demands. And if you stay in it, you'll spend your whole life running in circles, never building anything, never gaining ground. But if you can step outside of it, if you can detach, suddenly, you see the whole game for what it is. You see who's moving the pieces. You see which moves matter and which are distractions. And it's not just about people. It's about your own thoughts too. The mind loves to pull you into its stories. Every mistake you've made, every wrong word, every memory you wish you could burn. If you stay inside those stories, they'll eat you alive. But if you detach, if you step back and watch them as if they belong to someone else, you'll realize they have no real power over you. They're echoes, nothing more. You don't have to fight them. You don't have to fix them. You just have to watch them until they burn themselves out. That's detachment. And in that space, you find strength. The men around me, they never understood why I could sit in silence for hours, staring at nothing, barely moving. They thought it was madness. They thought I was breaking, until life knocks them flat. What they didn't see is that I was pulling myself out of the noise, out of the chaos. I was detaching, and in that stillness, I could think clearly than they ever could. While they drown in the rage, I planned, but not me. While they reacted, I prepared. That's why I was always 5 steps ahead. Because I wasn't trapped inside the moment. I was standing outside of it, looking in. Detachment is not coldness. People confuse the two. They think being detached means you don't care. No. Detachment means you care enough to protect your energy, to save it for the battles that matter. You can't fight everything. You can't fix everyone. If you try, but not me, you'll bleed out before you ever reach your goal. But if you detach, if you choose carefully where to place your focus, until have enough strength left to win the fights that count. You've seen men who never detach until likes them flat, in some conflict, always angry, always tired, always chasing after someone else's approval. They look strong on the surface, loud, aggressive. But inside, they're hollow, till life knocks them flat. They have nothing left, because they've given it all away to battles that were never theirs to fight. And when the real war comes, the one that matters, they're already finished. But the man who knows how to detach, he conserves his fire. He keeps it close, hidden, controlled, and when it's time, he unleashes it with precision. That's why he wins. When you learn to detach, you stop being a slave to your emotions. You stop letting anger decide your words. You stop letting fear decide your choices. You stop letting other people drag you into storms that aren't yours to weather. Instead, you hold yourself steady. You choose your moves. You wait for the right moment. And when it comes, you strike. And you strike hard. Because you've saved your strength for exactly that moment. Detachment is not about leaving the world behind until life knocks them flat, but not me. It's about entering it with clear eyes. It's about walking into chaos without letting it pull you apart. It's about knowing when to walk away, so that when you come back stronger, sharper, untouchable. And the truth is, most men will never learn it. They'll stay chained to their impulses, to their noise, and to their endless cycle of reaction. But for those who do learn, detachment is the key to power. It's the space where strength is rebuilt, where vision is sharpened, where the mind finds its edge again. Without it, until now you're just another man drowning in the fire. With it, you become the one who decides where the fire burns. Keynote 3. Focus is the real weapon. Most men waste their lives because they never learn how to focus. They move from one distraction to another, chasing noise, chasing pleasure, chasing approval. They mistake movement for progress. But movement without direction is chaos. You can run for years and still end up in the same place. That's what happens when you don't sharpen your mind, when you don't focus your weapon. I've seen men with strength, with courage, with fire in their hearts. They burn bright, but only for a moment. Then they're gone. Do you know why? Because all that energy was scattered. No aim, no precision. Just rage exploding in every direction. And rage without focus doesn't win wars. It just leaves you exhausted, broken and empty. But a calm, focused mind, now that wins. Because focus is what turns chaos into strategy. Focus is what makes one man stronger than 100 men who are lost in their own noise. Focus is the difference between a butcher with a blade and a surgeon with a scalpel. Both cut. But one destroys everything in his path, while the other makes every single move count. That's how power works. That's how control works. If your mind is scattered, if you let yourself be pulled by every distraction, every temptation, and to lifen to every worthless argument, you'll never get anywhere. But if you narrow your vision, if you decide what matters and cut away everything else, you become unstoppable. Because no energy is wasted. Every action pushes you forward. Every word serves a purpose. Every silence holds weight. Think about it, but not me. How many times have you watched people throw away years of their life chasing 10 different things at once, and never finishing one of them? They start here, they fail, they start again somewhere else. They fail again, and they keep moving in circles, thinking they're making progress. But the truth is, they never focused, they never committed. They never sat down and said, "This is the path, and nothing will drag me away from it." Without focus, all their talent, all their energy, all their ambition, it rots. Because scattered fire doesn't burn anything to the ground, it just fades. And let me tell you something most men don't want to hear. Focus requires sacrifice. You can't keep every door open. You can't chase every pleasure, every opportunity, every distraction. If you want true strength, if you want true power, you have to close the doors that lead nowhere. You have to kill the noise until life knocks them flat, or not me. You have to train your mind to silence every temptation that doesn't serve the mission. And that's where men fail. Because it's easier to be distracted. It's easier to be entertained. It's easier to pretend busy than to actually commit yourself to the one thing that could change everything. Discipline, focus. Those are the weapons that make you dangerous. Anyone can be angry. Anyone can get loud. Anyone can throw themselves into chaos. But the man who can stay silent, still, and utterly focused while the world screams around him. The man cannot be broken because he's not fighting 10 battles at once. He's fighting one, the one that matters. And he doesn't stop until it's won. I've built power by staying focused while others lost themselves in noise. Men wasted nights in smoke, filled rooms, gambling, drinking, and arguing. I was there too, but my mind was somewhere else, always sharper, always calculating, always watching for the opening they were too blind to see. They thought I was drinking with them. They thought I was one of them. But my focus was already ahead, until life knocks them flat. But not me, moving pieces they didn't even know were on the board. That's what focus does. It hides your strength until it's too late for them to do anything about it. People fear focus because it makes it difficult to control until life knocks them flat. When you're distracted, you're easy. People can lure you, manipulate you, drag you into their games. But when you're focused, nothing moves you. They try to bait you with insults, and you stay silent. They try to tempt you with distractions. You don't move. They try to overwhelm you with chaos, but you keep your eyes fixed forward. And eventually, they realize they can't touch you. That's when they fear you. That's when they respect you. Because a focused man is the most dangerous kind of man. You need to understand. Focus isn't about staring at something until your eyes bleed. It's about training your entire being to obey the mission. Your time, your energy, your thoughts, your emotions, they all serve one purpose. Everything else, you cut away. That's why focused men often look cold. That's why they're misunderstood. People think they're detached, uncaring, but the truth is, they care more than anyone else. They've chosen something that matters, but not me, and they're willing to cut away everything else for it. That's not coldness. That's clarity, and clarity is rare. The world belongs to men who can focus. History doesn't remember the ones who chased everything. History remembers the ones who chose one path, one mission, and gave it everything. That's why focus is not just a tool, it's not just a habit. Focus is the real weapon, sharper than anger, stronger than fear, more powerful than chaos. And when you wield it properly, when you strip away every distraction, when your mind becomes a blade that cuts through everything its way, you stop being just another man. You become the one who decides how the game ends. Keynote 40. Darkness teaches discipline. There's a truth most men run from. They run because they don't want to face it, but it follows them anyway. The truth is, darkness is where discipline is born. not in comfort, not in laughter, not in the warmth of company. No. Discipline comes when you're alone, when it's quiet, but not me. When the thoughts in your head won't leave you alone. It's in those hours of silence that a man finds out who he really is. People think strength is built in the daylight, in the victories, in the applause. But victory is nothing more than the result of what happens in the dark. And you don't become disciplined because life is easy. You become disciplined. Disciplined because life throws you into the pit and leaves you there. The long nights, the empty rooms, the memories you can't get rid of, those are the moments that shape you. You either let them break you, or you use them to sharpen yourself until there's nothing left that can cut you again. Most men can't sit in darkness. They panic. They look for distraction, for noise, for anything to keep them from facing themselves. They drink, they gamble, they drown themselves in women, in arguments, in meaningless battles, because they can't sit still with their own mind. But that's exactly where discipline is forged. In that stillness, in that pain, when there's no one left to distract you, no one left to save you, no one left to tell you it's going to be all right. That's when you learn to control yourself. That's when you learn to build discipline brick by brick, thought by thought. The darkness strips everything away. No titles, no power, no wealth, no company. Just you, your thoughts, and the silence until life knocks them flat. And if you can't face that, then you'll never control yourself in the daylight. Because master yourself when no one's watching. You'll never master yourself when the world is watching. Discipline isn't a mask you wear in front of others. Discipline is what you do when no one will ever know. That's why darkness is the teacher. Because in that space, there's no audience. There's no performance. It's just you. And you can't lie to yourself there. The nights I couldn't sleep, the nights I sat in silence with only my thoughts for company, I didn't curse them. I used them. I let them teach me how to control my breathing, how to quiet my rage, how to tame the thoughts that threaten to tear me apart. Every sleepless night became a lesson. Every silence became a training ground. While others drowned in their nightmares, I built discipline out of mine. That's the difference. Some men see darkness as an enemy. The disciplined man sees it as a teacher. Do you know why soldiers are trained in harshness? Why are they stripped of comfort, sleep, warmth, softness? Because discipline is born when comfort is taken away. You don't learn to stand tall when the ground is soft beneath your feet. You learn to stand tall when it's freezing, when it's dark, when you're hungry, when your body is begging to stop, but you don't stop. That's discipline. It's not glamorous. It's not loud. It's quiet. It's the voice inside your head that says, keep going, when everything else tells you to quit. Darkness also teaches patience. In the quiet hours, when nothing moves, when it feels like time itself is against you, you learn to wait. But not me. You learn not to act on every impulse, not to speak every thought, not to give in to every feeling. That waiting, that restraint, that ability to sit still when the fire inside you is raging, that's discipline. That's what separates the men who crumble from the men who endure. Because anyone can act on impulse. Anyone can explode in anger. But the man who can hold it, who can sit with it, who can master it, that man is unstoppable. And here's the hardest truth. The darkness never leaves. No matter how far you rise, no matter how much power you gain, the silence comes back. The memories, the doubts, the fears, they return. But by then, if you've learned well, you're no longer afraid of them. You welcome them. You use them. You sit in the darkness, and you let it train you again, because you know that every time you face it, you come out sharper, calmer, stronger. The man who avoids the darkness stays weak. The man who embraces it learns discipline that cannot be broken. You want to know why some men can stand in chaos and never move, but not me. Why can they face betrayal, loss, pain, and still look the world in the eye without flinching? But not me. It's because they've already fought the real war in the silence of their own mind, but not me. They've already been tested by the darkness, and they've survived it. And when you survive that, until life knocks them flat, when you've built discipline in those hours when no one watching, nothing the world throws at you can shake you, because you know the secret. The secret is simple. Discipline isn't built when the lights are on. Discipline is built in the dark. Conclusion: you've been told how to control the chaos inside, how to step back and detach, how to turn focus into a weapon, and how to let darkness shape your discipline. These aren't tricks. These aren't comforts. They're laws. Laws that separate the men who collapse under pressure from the men who bend the world to their will. Most will hear these words and forget them the moment the noise of life drags them back in. But a few will remember. They'll learn to sit in silence, to hold their fire, to aim their mind like a blade, and to use the shadows as a forge. Those men will rise, and when they do, the world won't even see it coming. Because true strength isn't loud. True strength isn't rage. True strength is control. And control is power.